What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 28 of Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is the Wrestlemania week edition. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and holy moly, do we have so much wrestling to talk about today. And we're going to be talking about wrestling pretty much every single day, like in the next coming week or so. As you know, WrestleMania week, there are so many events. First time ever, we had NXT Takeover take place in 2 nights. And today we had night 1 of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, which I'll just kick things off by saying it delivered top to bottom. This show delivered, and we're going to have so many great things to talk about. But that's not it. Not only do I have NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver night 1 to talk about, I'm also going to talk about AEW Dynamite, since that is what we cover each and every single week on here. So there is going to be lots to go over. However, before I get started, I do want to let you guys all know that today I'm kicking things off in reverse. So normally I talk about AEW Dynamite first, and then I get into NXT. Because this was a takeover show, I will be discussing takeover first because there is so much to talk about there. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into AEW Dynamite. So there's going to be so much to talk about as we go through the show. Guys, this is a very interactive stream, so feel free to send in your comments, your questions, your statements on here, and I will be reading them as we go through. Also, friendly reminder that F4W does allow me to keep 100% of the money that we make from the super chats on my stream. So if you want to send in a super chat, just know that it really does benefit me and it really helps me out and just keeps, that money rolling into the bank account, because that's what I need. All right. But anyways, send those in. I will read them regardless of what it is you have to say. Unless it's something really terrible, then I won't read it. But for the most part, go ahead and send in your super chat and I will be reading those as well. So I'm going to get things started off with our first super chat, and this one's a little controversial. So warning, this one is from Sexy Pheasant, who says, they're forming the bootleg club on AEW ... Great eye roll emoji. Ouch. All right, I wouldn't go that far. I'm not going to say I do not agree with this statement whatsoever. I will give my thoughts on the closing of AEW Dynamite once we get to it. However, I do appreciate the super chat, so thank you so much. I knew this was going to be a controversial evening. We have another super chat from Chris Ludek. Thank you so much to Chris, who says, really enjoyed night 1 of NXT Stand and Deliver. Thought Walter versus Ciampa was great. Ciampa attacking the hand. Was Pete Dunne like? Do you think Dunne would be the one to dethrone Walter finally? Right now, I do not know who will dethrone Walter, because after tonight, we already knew that Walter was he was already portrayed like a monster, right? We already knew that, but once we talk about this match, when we get into this match on NXT, I am going to have nothing but great and amazing things to say about both Ciampa and Walter, because this match, and I'll just say this right now, a little sneak preview of what I have to say moving forward. This match was exactly how you get 2 guys completely over. And I already know Tommaso Ciampa already has, he already has a record. He already has a reputation for having great takeover matches, etc. Right? Walter, people love Walter. We already know that. But just heading into this match, they had a lot of pressure, I think. A lot of pressure because people had very high expectations of these 2 men. And I will say this much. They completely lived up to those expectations, and I don't think this match was bad whatsoever. It did nothing but insane things for both Ciampa and Walter, and I seriously cannot wait to talk about this match more, because there's so much to talk about once we actually get into it. But either way, thank you so much to Chris for helping get things kicked off here with the super chats. I really appreciate it. We have another one from Matthew. Yes, guys, get the super chats rolling in. He says, ding dong, hello Denise. What the F is up? Show totally delivered. Raquel is a massive dub. Some matches were insane. Effing loved Walter versus Ciampa. All the matches that I expected to be good were good. And that's kind of dumb to say, to be honest, because I was expecting them all to be good. And I will say that they all completely delivered. So thank you so much to Matthew for sending us in. I do have to say that I also effing loved Walter versus Ciampa. And we have another one from Matthew who says, sorry for all the caps, just super hyped. LOL. Dude, I've been super hyped. So hyped. And another Matthew says, Denise, you must be so happy that Bronson Reed won. Oh, I'll get to that. I was super hyped during this entire show, okay? And I'm also even more excited, and this is totally going to take us off course really quickly, but I'm excited that this is one of the last days where I'm having to watch both NXT and AEW Dynamite together, because it is a serious mission to watch both shows at the exact same time and take notes and feel confident enough to come on here and tell you guys what I think each and every single week. So finally, next week, for those of you guys who do not already know, I am happy to announce that F4W has now expanded my Speak Now Pro Wrestling show. And I've had my Wednesday show. This is the 28th episode of that. So I've had it now for a couple of months. But I'm excited to let you all know that I am now hosting 3 shows on this channel. 3 shows, guys. NXT on Tuesday, AEW on Wednesdays, and SmackDown on Fridays. And you guys already joined me last week for Friday Night SmackDown, and that was a lot of fun. So continue to come back here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I mean, come here every day, but seriously, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays is when I will be on here. So I'm very excited to kind of get into that. So I do want to let you guys know, because as you know, I talk about NXT on the show, but since it's moving to Tuesdays, I will now have its own stream. So thank you guys so much for that. I was very excited when that decision was made. But now let's go ahead and jump into NXT TakeOver, because there really is so much to talk about. As we go through things, please send me in your thoughts. I will be reading them as we cover each and every single topic chronologically. So kicking things off with the pre-show, which was Toni Storm versus Zoe Stark. So one of the things that I had been saying about Zoe Stark is that she's been looking really good each and every single week since she made her debut on NXT. She's had stellar matches against Dakota, Raquel, Io Shirai, all women who are essentially at the top of the game on the NXT roster. However, the number one complaint that I've had, and that many other people have had on, the social media wrestling community world, whatever you want to call it, is that Zoe has necessarily not gotten very many wins whatsoever. In fact, prior to tonight, she only had 1 win on NXT, which was her debut. So now I have to say that I am so happy for her that she got this win against Zoe Stark against Toni Storm, because it was definitely the right call to make. Unfortunately, as much as I love Toni Storm, I think ever since her debut, a lot of her things, she hasn't necessarily been at the very, very top. Like, yeah, she had a match against Io Shirai and all of that. She had that triple threat match with her, Mercedes Martinez, and Io Shirai at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And since then, she only had 1 match. So they haven't really been doing as much as you would think that they should be doing with Toni Storm. So it kind of feels like she's taken a back seat. And unfortunately, her taking that back seat has kind of hurt her momentum, going each and every single week. So that is why I actually thought that Zoe, because we've been seeing her every single week. We've been seeing her in these matches, and for the most part, she has been looking good. I thought it was the right call to actually have her defeat Toni Storm in this. So that's pretty much what I have to say here. I mean, Zoe looked incredible in terms of you can tell that she was really feeding off the energy of the crowd, and her kicks looked impressive, and she ended up winning with an inside cradle. Now, one of the other things that I do want to touch on before I move on here, and mainly what I'm seeing here on the chat, is that everybody is happy that she won. But one of the things that I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this is, do you think that Toni Storm should move up to Raw or to SmackDown? Send in your thoughts, everyone, because one of the things that I kept seeing on my mentions on Twitter was like, oh, we want to see Toni Storm on Raw. We want to see Toni Storm on SmackDown, wherever we want to see her. And I have to say that I agree with those people. I agree with the people that think that Toni Storm should go to Raw or SmackDown. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the argument is like, we don't want to see people go to Raw or SmackDown because you know they're not going to get the proper opportunity. We know that, right? Like, we've been there. We've all had this conversation. We've all had this argument. However, Toni Storm, like I said, has literally had, this was her second match since NXT Takeover Vengeance Day. She only had one other match after that, and things haven't necessarily been going that great for her on NXT. So I actually do think that she can help brighten up whether she goes to the, I mean, I do think she would be needed more on the Raw brand, but whether she would go to the Raw brand or to the SmackDown brand, I do think she could liven up those rosters, mainly liven up the Raw women's division, but in SmackDown, she could just be like another possible challenger for, you know, whether it be if Sasha Banks retains her title against Bianca Belair or whether Bianca Belair wins at WrestleMania. Either way, I do think Toni Storm would be a credible challenger on Raw or SmackDown, and I do feel like she could probably have the opportunity to do a lot more. Now, that's obviously wishful thinking on my part because we know that it doesn't always go that direction, but I'm hoping, and I always have pause. I always have hope, but I might just be completely wrong. But I really do think that Toni Storm would probably be better off on Raw or on SmackDown. We do have a comment from Kyle who says that he would like to see Toni Storm on Raw or SmackDown. But then we have Labor Days who says that no, that would be death. And let's see what else we have here. So that's pretty much how I feel about this. We have a comment from ASM who says Bianca versus Storm would be a hoot. There's so much. It kind of feels weird because I feel like Toni Storm was that one person that I always felt like had a lot of star potential, and I kind of felt like the ball would never be dropped with her because she just had it. She was just somebody that was very obvious, that had a lot of really good, you know, she's good in the ring. She's the total package, right? So I almost feel like it's weird that we're seeing her take this path on NXT. Either way, that was the pre-show match here for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual main card because here we go, guys. It was literally like each and every single takeover, banger after banger after banger. And the bangers kicked off with Pete Dunne versus Kushida. Now, I am happy that they kicked things off with this match. Just looking at the card, looking at all the matches, this one seemed like the best option to really kick off the night. And I gotta say that I love this match. I really, really did. Now, I will go as far to say that this match was good. I loved it. I didn't think it was great, though. It wasn't one of Pete Dunne's greatest takeover matches. It wasn't one of Kushida's greatest takeover matches. Like, it didn't hit that next level peak, that next level benchmark. I will say that much, but I still very much enjoyed it because they went straight right in this match. What I liked about it is that they started things off, you know, going with the submission, doing a lot of mat work, which we knew we expected, especially out of Pete Dunne. But here's the thing about Kushida is that, like, both Kushida and Pete Dunne could really go at these like freakishly amazing speeds, and kind of just seeing them work together looked really fantastic. So one of the things that I liked about this match is that they would slow it down for a couple of seconds, right? But it wasn't long enough because right after that, they would speed up this match. And we just saw Kushida like doing all of these crazy things with Pete Dunne. And it was just, I loved the speed of this match. I love the fact that they balanced it out between both of them. And so personally, I liked this match. Again, it wasn't their greatest takeover performance for either of them, but it was good. And Pete Dunne did end up winning with the bitter end. So good for Pete Dunne. It was the right call to have Pete Dunne win. I still want to see more of Kushida in terms of he's always having amazing matches on TakeOver. So I do hope that eventually he just keeps growing and growing to that next level that I think he could be at on the NXT roster. We have a super chat from Matthew Makovsky who says, feeling generous the day Vince sees Tony me have a heart attack. LOL. Oh God, that's terrible. But Matthew, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see what else we have here, guys. This one is from Draper Dawn who says, that this match seemed a little quick in its pacing, 100 miles per hour, but yeah, it was good. Agreed. I like that pacing though. I think that's what I kind of liked more about it, was because they found a balance in that. And so I think the pacing is what made me love this match just so much more. And anything else? Let's see. We have a comment from, I'll read this one from Rubalat Fardeen, who says, oh, this is about, okay, he's talking about the TNT thing. Okay, we'll get into that later. So keep it chronologically, guys. As we go through it, I do want to read the comments that correlate with what we're talking about at the moment. It just makes things a lot more smoother. So send them in as we're going through them. Also, for those of you guys who just tuned in, friendly reminder, send in a super chat. I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds from the super chats after YouTube takes their cut. And boy, do they take a cut from my hard-earned money. But either way, send in a super chat. They really do help. And I will read your comment on here 100%. I know we get a lot of comments, so I don't get to read all of them. I do try to read most of them, or at least a lot of them. But if you want to get your comment for sure read on the air on this stream, send in a super chat. All right. So after this, we had the Gauntlet Eliminator match to determine the NXT North American champion, who would face the NXT North American champion, Johnny Gargano, for tomorrow night on NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 2. So I'll just kick things off by saying that I'm so happy that Bronson Reed won this. All right, so I've been coming on here like each and every single week that I recap NXT, talking about how much I love Bronson Reed, how he's been having, like, for the most part since he returned to NXT, he's been having good matches, but they never really gave him anything else though. Like, he was having good matches, but that was it. Like, there wasn't anything else to him. They weren't really doing much, right? Then we kind of started seeing a little bit more with the whole LA Knight thing and all of that, right? But I didn't think, even though I wanted him to win this match, I didn't actually think he was going to win. I really thought that this was going to go over to Dexter Lumis. And if it wasn't Dexter Lumis, I thought it would be LA Knight or Cameron Grimes. I thought those were more of the sure options of who was actually going to take this. So I was completely happy when Bronson Reed won this, because I know for a fact that he is going to have an awesome match with Johnny Gargano tomorrow night. But in terms of the Gauntlet, I did think that this was good. And the reason why I thought this Gauntlet was good was because everybody kind of had like their own little story in this. Like, everybody had a story in this, and it kind of meshed in really well. Like, even right at the top when we had Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott attacks Leon Ruff right before the match. And I love this, because why not? Why not do it? Like, you're going into this Gauntlet, you want to weaken this guy so that, he's not tip-top shape. However, I do have to say that I was very disappointed that Leon Ruff was one of the first people to be eliminated in this Gauntlet, because I really like Leon Ruff. I like Leon Ruff way more than Isaiah Swerve Scott. So I feel like they haven't. Okay, so I feel bad for Leon Ruff because, he came in, he defeated Johnny Gargano, he became North American champion, and everybody saw it as something really dumb, right? Like, people didn't like it. I was one of the few people that actually did like it. And since then, I've been sort of like I've been on the Leon Ruff boat where I'm like, dude, this guy is athletic. This guy, like, yeah, he's still a little green here and there, right? But he is still very athletic, and the things that he can do in the ring are really well, and he works at a very tremendous speed, and I really like that. Like, I love his footwork on the ring ropes. I love when he does all of that type of stuff. So I almost feel like Leon Ruff is sort of not getting the, I wouldn't say praise, but I don't think enough people are saying good things about Leon Ruff when they should be. I really do think that he's one of those people that are being undersold. And if they stopped making him out like, I hate that whenever Leon Ruff would get a victory on NXT, I hate that they would pretty much be like, oh my God, like, make it into a big deal that he actually won because he's like a newcomer or a rookie. I feel like if they took that away and they let Leon Ruff be himself, I actually think he could be one of the hottest people on the NXT roster. So I do hope that they take him more seriously and let the fans take him more seriously so that Leon Ruff can just like continue to keep getting better and better. So I like Leon Ruff. I was disappointed that he was one of the first people eliminated here. After this, we had Bronson Reed as the third entrant. When he came in, this was good because, obviously we saw a bunch of, powerhouse moves from both of them, from him. One of my favorite parts of this match early on was actually when they made it seem like Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott were going to be able to suplex Bronson Reed. I thought that was kind of funny, but then he reverses it and suplexes the both of them. Cameron Grimes comes in and, obviously he's using his money to try to benefit him. He works with Swerve Scott for a bit. So that was pretty funny. Fifth entrant was Dexter Lumis. I didn't really think Dexter Lumis didn't shine as much for me during this match. Maybe he did for other people, not so much for me. But in the end, we did have the final three were Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, and Isaiah Swerve Scott. And here I thought, all right, they've been really pushing and making Isaiah Swerve Scott look really good in this match. I will say this was the best we have seen Isaiah Swerve Scott. I thought this was the best showcase that he's had on NXT thus far. And so I really thought that at this point, they were going to have him win here. So they're all in a triangle, sort of chopping each other. In the end, we have Isaiah Swerve Scott eliminate Cameron Grimes, with the final two being Isaiah Swerve Scott and Bronson Reed. After this, we finally have Bronson Reed, who ended up winning. But before that, we had several near falls, all which I thought Isaiah Swerve Scott was going to win. I really did think he was going to win here. But in the end, Reed kills him with a power bomb and a splash to get the win. And now he's going to face Johnny Gargano. So good call on this one. What are your thoughts on here? So we have a comment from Pro Wrestling TV who says, I wanted to see LA Knight win after jobbing to Reed in his first match. However, since Reed has to go over Gargano tomorrow, this should lead to Knight versus Reed rematches for the bout. See, I can't imagine anyone, I considered LA Knight winning, but he hasn't necessarily had an impressive debut on NXT. For the most part, he's been losing. I mean, besides his mic work, there really isn't anything there that we've been able to see from him. So I didn't really actually want him to win. I expected him to possibly be one of the people to win, but I didn't actually want it. This one is from Draper Dunne, who says, Bronson was his second pick, and he says he's just a Cameron Grimes nut. I can respect that. Also says, I need him to go to the moon. But yeah, this was great for Bronson. Happy for him, especially after the apron bump he took. That was brutal. Dude, see, I liked that spot. I really, really did like that apron spot. However, it just didn't come across. For me, I didn't think it came across as believable. I liked how it visually looked, but it was just not easy for me to actually believe that Isaiah Swerve Scott could get him over like that. So for me, it missed the mark a little bit, but it was still a pretty interesting spot for him there. We have a comment from Brandon who says, if LA Knight would change his name, maybe I'd root for him. And Matthew Mean says, out of curiosity, why aren't you a fan of Swerve? Good in ring, great mannerisms, and just overall nice charisma. I like Isaiah Swerve Scott. I just wouldn't say that he's one of my favorites, though. I just think that however, after tonight, he was most impressive tonight. So he impressed me the most tonight out of any other night, for sure. But I wouldn't go as far to say that I'm not a fan of Isaiah Swerve Scott. I just think I'm a fan a little bit more of other people. I don't feel as passionate of being an Isaiah Swerve Scott fan as I am a Bronson Reed fan. Hey, to each their own. We all have people that we tend to gravitate more, certain guys that work certain styles that just come across differently to different people. So for me, I'm just more leaning in that direction. So, alrighty, let's see what else we have here. Cool. So, guys, let's go ahead and continue. After this, we had here we go, guys. Let's do this. I better see this chat blowing up with thoughts and opinions here, because this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. And it is Walter defending the NXT UK Championship against Tommaso Ciampa. So, holy damn, where do I begin? Guys, it's not fair. Where do I even begin with this match? So the second that this became a thing, everybody was excited. There was not one person that was not looking forward to this match. I did a poll early today on Twitter, and I asked people like, oh, what match are you most looking forward to? And I knew that it was going to be this match. I knew that. But I was like, I'm still going to put this poll out there just for the hell of it. And everybody responded with this match. I mean, there was other picks too, but for the most part, everybody mainly picked this match. So this is something that I think a lot of people saw this as like a dream match. At least that's how I felt about it, especially like coming off of like what Walter has been doing, especially coming off of that match with Dragunov that everybody was talking about, and going up against somebody like Ciampa, who's literally had this reputation of being this badass on NXT in his own right, and kind of going head to toe against Walter. Like, it's just a dream scenario if you think about it, a real dream scenario. And here's the thing too, is that you look at Tommaso Ciampa and you see him, right? Like, I can't stress this enough. He is literally looks like a killer. He looks like a badass. Like, if you look at him, you think, oh man, like no other guy can take him. Like, look at him, right? But then you have this monster in Walter and you're thinking, oh crap, maybe there is somebody that can take Tommaso Ciampa. So you kind of have this thing of like, can Ciampa really, bring down Walter? So it was a really good matchup where you could really believe both guys. Now, before I get into my more thoughts on this one, I'm going to read the super chat from Brandon, who says that Ciampa versus Walter was great. In fact, I wanted more. Maybe I'm greedy. Brandon, sign me up because I am greedy as heckers. I too am greedy. And this is what I need to say by this. I did not want this match to end. And I tweeted this out, and it sounds so ridiculous, but part of me was like, oh my God, like Ciampa's literally, there were certain portions of this match where Ciampa was essentially being killed, all right? Being killed. And I started thinking, oh my God, I feel the need to pray for this guy. Obviously, this is just an over-dramatization. I'm just being over-dramatic, okay? But at the same time, I just did not want this match to end whatsoever. So it's kind of like one of those things where I'm like, oh, dude, I'm praying for you. But then at the same time, I just want to see it continue. Like every time there was a near fall, I thought to myself, no, you better come out. Like, no, like this better be a 2 count. I do not want a 3 count. And so, yeah, I agree with you in terms of, I was actually being greedy as well. But let's talk about this match a little bit more in depth and why it was actually really good. So again, both men came out with this like killer mentality, intensity. They looked scary as hell. All right. Both of them did. Then right at the start, it was like Ciampa did his homework. He knows what Walter is all about. He knows that Walter is just getting ready to chop the living hell out of him, right? But Ciampa was finding these ways to like get out of chops from Walter. Now, obviously, he didn't avoid them the entire match, but he did avoid a lot of them. So I did like that aspect of this match. There was a spot at the top of this match where Ciampa's back is on the commentary table and Walter is about to chop him, but instead Ciampa moves out of the way and Walter just like, bam, literally gets the table and the table splits in half, like that top portion splits in half, and that was just such a very good visual. There was another moment where I swear I felt like I was the one that got kicked in the face. There was a boot to the face from Walter to Ciampa where, I mean, it looked like he took his head off, all right? Now, this is obviously me being over dramatic, but this is how it felt, guys. And this is how it felt. And that is why I love this match, that you knew you were seeing something special. You knew you were seeing something spectacular. You knew you were getting a treat here. Like, really, this was a treat, guys. And there was, that killer boot to the face, which I needed to talk about. One of the things that was awesome about this match too, and I mentioned this at the top with Ciampa trying to avoid getting those chops from Walter, but there was also a lot of, psychology in this match in terms of Ciampa was doing a lot to try to weaken Walter, try to weaken his hand, try to, make sure that, he wasn't at his full capacity of, his full 100% potential of chopping the hell out of him, right? So I like that there was a spot where he just literally kept kicking and kicking and kicking, kicking Walter's hands. That was pretty sick. Ciampa literally was doing anything possible in this match to bring the big guy down. This made Walter look like not even like a man, like a machine. The way they told this story, it made Walter look like a machine. It made Ciampa look like those he was the ultimate underdog in this. Like, because you're looking at Walter and you're thinking they made him look so good in this match that you thought to yourself, there's no way that he could beat him. But then Ciampa was doing literally everything in his power. Like when he was going back and forth and like getting him on the chest, that was an awesome spot during this. And that's what I meant by both of these guys really got over in this match. Ciampa, again, you couldn't help but to cheer for him. You couldn't help but to root for him. But at the same time, Walter was built so strongly in this that you were like, I don't know if it can actually happen. So he really did look like a monster in this. They both chop each other back and forth. Walter's chops were a little, they probably weren't as strong as the ones that we've seen before, but that all worked within the storyline because that was what Ciampa wanted. Ciampa didn't want Walter's chops to necessarily be 100%. So I did like that we got to see that effect play out later on in the match. I wanted this match to be a lot longer. I think had this match had like an extra 5-10 minutes, I would have been even happier. But for the most part, I don't know how long this match was because I didn't time it, but it delivered a lot in a short amount of time. And I really, really felt like we saw something special. So guys, send in your thoughts. How did you feel about this one? So I'll kick things off with a super chat from Christopher. Thank you so much, Christopher. He says, I don't understand all the talk. He says, I don't understand all the talk. The thought the match was boring. Just kidding. This match was pure fire. Oh, you confused me. Oh my God. I thought you were going to say this match was boring for a second. No, yeah, this match was pure fire. I agree with you. I honestly have not seen one person that has said they didn't like this match. And I think if there's anybody out here who says that, I think you're just kidding yourself, or I don't know, like, one of the things I tweeted too immediately following this match was the fact that this is the kind of match that's so good that I feel that even non-wrestling fans could get into. Like if I were to show this to my mom or to my friend or to my cousin or to my sister, I'm pretty sure that even though they're not wrestling fans, they would be like, oh damn, like these guys are killing each other. And at the end of the day, we're humans and we like violence, which is terrible, but it is what it is. All right, let's read some thoughts, guys. So if you want to get your opinions in, I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of these because I do want to chat a lot about this one. So this one is from Chris, who says that Walter's chops were devastating. Hell yeah. Elliot says that this match was actually about 18 minutes. Thank you so much for letting me know. So Joseph also says 17. So 17, 18 minutes. So almost 20 minutes of, pure brutality in this one, really. And Mike jokes that the table became the chopping block. I felt bad for that table. Oh, that table got it. And let's see what else we have here. This one is from Nicholas, who says, why is Walter not on this side of the pond regularly? He would own the main roster. He really, truly would. Yes. Really, really, truly would. And let's see what else we have here. This one's from Joseph, who says, great match. Triple H spoke very highly of Walter at his scrum. I got to read a couple of the notes. If you guys, I know that Wrestling Observer is obviously on Twitter was putting all of the highlights from the media scrum with Triple H. And I got to read a few of them before this show. I didn't get to read what he said about Walter though. So I did miss that. We have a super chat from Devin. Thank you so much to Devin, who says, loved it. Any sports fan would love it. Right? That's where I got it. Like, there's certain matches that, like, I feel you have to be a wrestling fan to like. Then there's certain matches that, like, everybody would like. And then there's matches like these where everybody would like. All right. So yeah, I think this one was definitely one of them. So thank you so much to Devin. I really appreciate you sending in this super chat. Let's see. We have another comment from Isaiah, who says, Walter has been built up to the point that if anyone were to have actually beat him, it would feel like a lie. Yes. Yes, that is exactly what crossed my mind too. Like, you would literally have to build up like a Walter 2.5, Walter 3.0, I don't know, whatever. You would have to build a guy. Like, I can't think of well, that's not necessarily the case because oh my God, that's a tough one. It has to be someone that's believable. Let's just leave it at that. It has to be somebody that is truly believable that he could take down Walter. And especially after everything that Ciampa did and looking at who Ciampa is and his history and all of that, his track record, and the fact that he couldn't do it. So it's like somebody else has to do it. Matthew says, Finn is our only hope, LOL. Dude, Finn is awesome, but I don't know. I really, really don't know. This is from Pro Wrestling TV, who says, two grown adult men having a fight. Who would imagine we'd see such a thing in 2021? This is wrestling. Elliot says, I think Ilya Dragunov is going to beat him. He's got this new thing where he does chants Ilya like Ibushi. I think he takes it. I can see it too. I can see it because especially after that match, yes, I can definitely agree with this as well. And all right, guys, this is a funny joke. This one is from Reductive92, who says, Godzilla versus Kong energy for Walter's equal. Exactly. I should have just said that. Like, whoever, I don't know if you want to call him Godzilla or King Kong, I don't know, whatever, but his opposite, that would be it. Yeah, that's a good analogy. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had the triple threat match for the vacant NXT Tag Team titles. MSK versus the Grizzeled Young Veterans versus Legado del Fantasma. So I think, I don't have as much to say about this match, but I'll kind of hit some bullet points here that I want to talk about. And really what I just want to say about this one is that I'll start off by saying that I liked this match. I thought it was good. However, it was nowhere near the match that MSK and Grizzeled Young Veterans had at Vengeance Day, in my opinion. In my opinion, that match blew me away. Like, I was in awe after that match. I don't necessarily think I felt that way after this match here tonight, but either way, it was still good. It just didn't measure up to that match. And unfortunately, when I have something like that in my mind, and it was, the last takeover, it's still going to be fresh in there. So I'm going to measure, things like that. So I will say that much. Other than that, I do want to add that I actually thought that the Legado del Fantasma, they brought so much to this match, but at the same time, I also thought that they kind of outshined both teams, in my opinion. I actually thought that they came across as more, I don't know, they just outshined everybody else in this match for me. So I liked them the most in this one. But with that being said, the right team won. MSK going into this should have been the team that won. They were the team that won, and it was the right call. So I guess I can't say, there's nothing bad to say about this. Other than, Legado del Fantasma looked fantastic. MSK, Grizzeled Young Veterans match was better last time. But MSK winning the tag titles, right call, 100%. And let's see what else you guys are saying here. So we have a couple of comments here. This one is from... Okay, I'll read this one from D-Train, who says that this was a good match, would have been an awesome ladder match, but with the ladder match tomorrow, they don't want to have two ladder matches, I'm sure. Oh, I thought you were making a joke, because I know everybody jokes around that NXT is always doing ladder matches. This one is from Joelle, who says, MSK, FTW, hopefully they have a long reign and move up the main roster. Okay, and then this one is from, let's see, I'm going to try to get some more comments in here. This one is from Brandon, who says that loved when Carter stopped Wesley from tapping out. That was epic. That was a good spot as well. I agree with that too. Awesome, guys. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. Friendly reminder, guys, if you want to get your comment read here on the stream, or you just want to help me out, feel free to send in a super chat. F4W does allow me to keep all the money after YouTube takes their cut. I'm finding I need to find new ways to promote these super chats, guys. I really, really do. But you guys get me. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Alrighty, so let's get into this main event before we talk about AEW Dynamite. So NXT Women's Championship main event, Io Shirai defends against Raquel Gonzalez. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new NXT Women's Champion in Raquel Gonzalez, and this was the right call to make. I wanted Raquel to be champion, so because I wanted it, we got it. Just kidding. But no, seriously, a lot of people, based on what I saw in terms of people talking about this match and what people were saying, and just every week talking about this with you guys on here, for the most part, a lot of people did want to see Raquel be champion, and this really was the time to do it because she has been built great in this. Everything that she did, she's been built great in this, her run so far in NXT. That's where I'm trying to get at. So aside from everything that they did with Dakota and her, where they crowned them NXT Tag Team Champions and then had them lose them that same night, aside from that, really, they've been doing a phenomenal job with Raquel. Everything that she did with Rhea Ripley really elevated her game and really brought her to that next level where there was not one moment where I didn't believe that Raquel was a legit badass. And then NXT last week, this really was the match that in one night, they really built so much. Literally, in one night, they got this match from like us being excited to us being even more, hyper excited about this match. Just even having Raquel put Io Shirai through that wall, that was a really great moment. And so they did a good job ending NXT last week on a brawl. That added to this. So I'm going to this is a comment from ASM who I'm going to read because he says, this match felt special. Exactly. They did a really good job at making this match feel special. And so I do agree with that. So for the most part, now, this as the main event was really good. I don't think that it was it wasn't one of my favorite matches. It wasn't my favorite match on the card. I did think that it could have been maybe a little bit, for the most part, given Raquel's level and her experience and where they're at right now, this was a perfect match for them. I won't say it was like an all-time great. I don't think it got to that level. That's just my opinion. But I still like this match, and I still think that it deserves it a tremendous amount of respect because for them to go to be the main event, when you have a match like Walter and Ciampa on the card, that is a lot of pressure on them as well to, go out there and say like, hey, we earned this main event spot. Like we should be the main event spot. Like we're a big deal. So I do like that. Io's offense works really well with Raquel because she's impactful. So I do like that. This was a high energy match. And when it comes to this types of matches, Io Shirai is going to bring it because she moves at a speed like no other. And with Raquel bringing the powerhouse side of it, they meshed really, really well. There was a moment where Io Shirai, when they were on the stage and there's that big giant skull, Io Shirai climbs that skull. I didn't even see her climb it. She just popped in there and she was there. And she did her splash. That was really awesome. Really good moment here. In the end, we did see Raquel win this match. So good for her. She pinned Io clean, which was fantastic. We have another super chat from Brandon who says, Raquel winning the belt tonight was great. It was weird hearing the piped in boos. I know she's a heel, but I had no intent on booing her tonight. I actually didn't catch that actually. And the reason why I didn't was because I was also watching AEW on sound. So I think at some point my sounds were starting to get like conflicted with one another. Like I was just hearing sound. So I don't think I was actually hearing like the emphasis on the boos or the cheers. Or if I did, I probably just tuned it out and didn't really focus on that. But so yeah, good stuff though. Really, really happy for Raquel. Really excited to see what she does. And then actually, I'm gonna read this from so I retweeted this. This is from the media call, and Wrestling Observer posted it on Twitter. So Triple H had this to say about Io Shirai. So this is from Wrestling Observer. Shirai has earned the right to do what she wants to do. Take time off, Gonzalez rematch, etc. Triple H references being a funny thing when people assume a loss means a call-up. Michael's question, she would want to go anywhere else. Why would she want to go anywhere else if she could stay and face the best? Again, this is on Wrestling Observer's Twitter. So from the looks of it, we don't necessarily know if this is going to be a call-up for Io Shirai. Everybody's expecting it to be, especially her losing. So they're sort of addressing the fact that they think that, that the fans think that just because she lost, she's going to get moved up. I really hope I know that sounds really bad, but I don't want her to go to Raw or SmackDown just yet. I mean, I think eventually she's going to get there, but I kind of would hope to just wait out a little bit till they get like that right moment for her instead of it just being like sprung in there like really quickly. So I don't know if you guys feel the same way or if you just want to see her A, stay on NXT, or B, just have her go to Raw or SmackDown. And Mike Shazek1 says, how do you climb a skull? No idea. Through the eyeballs, maybe? The mouth, the nose, the eyeballs. Get in there like rock climbing. And let's see what else we have here. All right, cool. I read all of these, I think, for the most part. At least I got all the super chats in here. All right, awesome, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into... Actually, let's do some closing thoughts. Closing thoughts. Matthew says, honestly, though, every match wasn't 5 stars. The structure and flow makes the show a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Obviously, guys, match of the night was definitely Walter versus Ciampa. Second match of the night, or runner-up, I personally would go with, I'm going to go with runner-up. I would go with Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez. Third runner-up, I would go with Pete Dunne versus Kushida. So I would say that those were my top 3 favorite matches of the night, but really there was nobody in comparison to Walter and Ciampa, like whatsoever. But coming from Joelle, who says that Raquel came off as a babyface in her celebration. She did. Says, surprise, no interference from Dakota. Love the clean finish. Hope Io gets some time off. Agreed, wouldn't like a move up. So yeah, I actually am glad that we didn't get an interference from Dakota, and I did love the clean finish as well. That is exactly how it had to be. And to me, she did feel like babyface when she won, but I think it was mainly because everybody wanted to see her as a champion. So yeah. Alrighty, guys. Let's jump into AEW Dynamite. So AEW was hard to watch today with NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So I think I got through mostly everything for the most part. I am going to talk about the major highlights of this show. So I won't go into everything chronologically the way that I normally do, just for the sake of timing and all of that. But I am going to cover the main points of AEW Dynamite. And then just know that next Wednesday, I will only be talking about AEW Dynamite on this show. So we'll really be able to hash into it and really just like, get into the meat of it all. So here we go. Let's open things up with the opening match, which was Hangman Page versus Max Caster. All right. I want to kick things off by, I like the fact that I like when we have guys like Max Caster get these opportunities to have these matches with Hangman Page, because it gives Hangman Page wins. He's been winning consistently. He's been racking up those wins. I love that. This was a good opening match, and it doesn't hurt Max Caster whatsoever to essentially lose to Hangman Page. And we also get to see him, do something on his own, have this singles match. We get to see a little bit more of what he has to offer. So I liked this. I thought this was a great way to really allow Max to really showcase himself on Dynamite. So I thought that was really good. I know that they gave a lot to Max Caster, and usually I would be like, they shouldn't do that or whatever, really going head to toe with Hangman Page isn't that believable. But this time I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I didn't mind it. Because I like the fact that not only is Hangman Page picking up these consistent wins, but he's actually having these pretty good quality matches. And I like that. And so for me, that trumps that a little bit more. So I was a fan of this. One of the things I do have to say, though, is that I really do think that Hangman Page should be in the TNT title picture. He's been protected and he's been winning, but obviously, or not obviously, but it seems like they're not ready for him to go after Kenny just yet. So I do think that he should be in the TNT Championship picture. It would make a lot more sense to be doing something like that. I think that him racking up those wins, getting that shot at the TNT title, it would really mean something. And if he becomes TNT champion, which I think he should, it would definitely, and I know people already said that Tony Khan said that he doesn't see the TNT Championship as a stepping stone title to the AEW World Championship. But at the end of the day, the AEW World Championship is the most prestigious bout in AEW. So I do think that this would obviously mean something to have Hangman Page become TNT champion. So I do want to say that much about that, but either way, good, solid opening segment. I think this match was a lot better. Not a lot better, but I think it gave people a lot and might have been better than many might have expected. Like if you would have just, seen this on paper, you might have thought like, all right, this match is going to be okay. Nah, it was actually better than okay. So good opening match there. Let's see what else we have here. This one's from Cyclops, who says, Max has no bars whatsoever. He's no Johnny Drip Drip, that's for sure. Oh, Johnny Drip Drip. Jesus. All right, let's see what else we have here. And we have a lot of people that pretty much said that they read the results for Dynamite, because it really was like today was one of those days where you really had to pick a show here. Labor Day says this was an unexpected good match. Joseph points out that this was a great match. Hangman Page is getting those wins. The question is, do they save Page getting a title shot till All Out 2? I actually think that they should just keep building him up. I think he should be TNT champion. I really do. I stand by this statement. I stand by this. Jack Hines points out the commentators were saying Hangman is in line for Kenny, though. They have been saying that, and I don't mind that whatsoever. But even though he's in line for Kenny, why he could still, keep building himself up to be that much more bigger to when he actually gets to Kenny. So why not have him become champion and make him that much of a bigger deal? So I would like this. And let's see what else we have here. Okay, this one is from the Keys Boo, who says, don't know if they should be jobbing Kenny right now, but Hangman would be a good champ, especially when crowds come back. Yeah, definitely, especially when, obviously AEW has people in the audience, but we're talking like a crowd, like a real crowd, like sold out crowd. Although I don't know when that's going to happen. But Cyclops, thank you so much for sending in a super chat, says, the only thing I watch is Britt's promo tonight. Yeah, I was debating, honestly, going into the show, doing this podcast today, I was debating. I was like, should I just talk about NXT TakeOver or should I, do both NXT and AEW? And I decided, I was like, dude, I do AEW every week. I would hate to miss 1 week. I don't want to do that. So that is why I pushed the show to 8 o'clock instead of, we were starting a lot earlier now. Also, thank you. That reminds me. So next week, when I start recapping AEW by itself, I am going to be going on immediately, guys, immediately after AEW is over. Like 5 minutes after, I will be going on. So for those of you who are like, I hate waiting for the shows to start, you won't have to wait that much longer anymore because I will be going on so much more faster. Because prior to this, I really needed more time to watch NXT and AEW because I didn't want to miss anything and be like, I didn't watch that. And then people are going to be like, girl, you're reviewing the show and you missed that. So, wanted more time to watch those shows. But now I will be going on immediately following AEW. And the same thing for NXT, same thing for the SmackDown shows. I will be going on immediately after the show ends. All right. So after this, we had the Inner Circle segment where the Inner Circle comes out. Jericho's on the mic and he calls the Pinnacle the pineapple. And I made a SpongeBob joke about this. I thought it was pretty funny. But he basically comes out and he basically says that the Inner Circle has made a lot of bad decisions and apologizes and says that they were all caused by MJF. And he keeps referring to him in this promo as his jerk off friend. He says that MJF stole his gimmicks, that he even mentions the scarf, that he wore a scarf before, he made it cool before MJF did, that MJF believes his own hype, that immediately following anything he does on Dynamite, that he goes and he reads all the comments and he just wants to know what the people think. He calls him a mark, but then instead of calling him a mark, he changes it to saying that he is a Max for himself, says that he'll never be better than him. And then he starts going on about how he can't tell FTR apart. I actually thought this was pretty dang hilarious that he joking about the fact that he can't tell FTR apart and comparing them to the Jonas Brothers. I thought that was funny. And then he announces that he's going to give us blood, that they're going to give us violence, that if that's what we want, that's what we're going to get. And then announces that on the May 5th edition of Dynamite, we are going to get the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a blood and guts match. So that is going to be something to look forward to. After this, there was a beatdown later on in the show where the Pinnacle attacked Jericho, and this was good. They brought him out. They attacked him. They locked the Inner Circle in the locker room. I thought that was fantastic. And we'll talk about, actually, I'm going to save that. Because I want to talk about the Mike Tyson thing separately. But for the most part, that was the first segment for the Inner Circle of the night. So Blood and Guts, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And that's what I'm going to say. Christopher, thank you so much for the super chat. Christopher says, with all this wrestling, how are you going to have time to look for a new apartment? Well, the way I see it is while I'm not looking for the apartment, I'm saving money. But thank you so much to Christopher for sending in this super chat. Yeah, there's definitely going to be no time for anything other than wrestling this week. You know, I have a show, guys, every single day, starting today till next Wednesday. My first day off is going to be till next Thursday. So I don't mind it, guys. I love doing these live streams. I love talking about wrestling with people, etc. Mike says, Jericho delivered a whole roast in one breath. Dude, he went on and on and on. I didn't mind it, though. I actually thought it was pretty funny, though. And, okay. Before we get to, let me go ahead and move on from this, though. All right, so really quickly, we had a quick segment where Taz asks Christian if he wants to be part of Team Taz, says that he could benefit a lot of having a guy like him with a lot of wealth of knowledge that he can help him out. All I want to say about this really is that I hope we get to see Christian versus Ricky Starks. I think that a match like this and just this in general would really help somebody like Starks a lot. And I'm a big fan of Ricky Starks. I think that there's so much potential in him. He's got so much. So that's pretty much all I want to mention on there. And after this, we jumped into Bear Country versus Jurassic Express. And this is where I had to pause the show while I was watching live, because I think while I was watching this match, it was when Tommaso Ciampa and Walter started, but I also didn't want to miss Bear Country versus Jurassic Express. So that's where I paused the show, and really, I just fell completely behind. But what I want to say here, though, is that Jurassic Express really needs to go for those tag titles now. That's it. They need to go for them. It's time. They need to do it. They looked great in this match. I love the chemistry that they have with Bear Country. I'm a fan of Bear Country. I think from like the second they started, having matches on Dynamite was when I really started like putting them over and whatnot. But for the most part, there was other than I really want to get to say here is that I thought Luchasaurus looked great in this match. I think if anything, he probably did the most in this match. All of his kicks looked fantastic, which they always do. But for the most part, like, this was a fun match. Like, it wasn't anything like out of this world. It was a simple but fun match. And I just think Jurassic Express won. And I just think that they really need to go for the titles here. We have a super chat from Matthew who says that meeting Brian Cage versus Christian Cage ASAP. They should just promote it as Cage versus Cage. And as Reductive says, in a cage match. So Cage versus Cage in a cage match. Do it for the sole purpose of marketing material. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? If you weren't a wrestling fan and someone told you, oh yeah, it's going to be Cage versus Cage in a cage match. You'd be like, WTF? What are you watching? Alrighty. Let's move on. After this, we had the QT Marshall promo. And so obviously this is leading into a match with Cody. That's perfectly fine. But what I liked about this is that he put over, all his guys, especially Anthony Ogogo. And he made him seem like a big deal, especially the way that he came out and they did that, like, separate package that they incorporated into the actual promo. I really, really like that. And here's the thing is that obviously Ogogo, he isn't ready yet, but they can, I hope that, if they do lead to a match between Ogogo versus Cody, I do think that if they hold up the match for a couple of months and have Ogogo, work on himself, get better, I think in a couple of months, he should be ready. So I kind of hope that they, keep this teased out for a bit until we can eventually get Cody versus Ogogo. And I do think that having this pairing with QT could definitely help somebody like Anthony. So, yeah, I hope we do get that. And I hope that obviously this helps him out. And I think it would be a pretty good thing to have. And let's see what else we have here. I'm trying to see what else we have in terms of Cyclops says Nightmare Family Wolfpack. And let's see what else we have. Oh, someone else says that Labor Day says Paige versus Cage and a cage in a steel cage turn the Page match. Bro, that is a tongue twister already. A tongue twister. Jack Hines says Adam Page versus Ethan Page. D-Train says Page versus Cage. Rage in the cage? ? I love this. I don't mind this whatsoever. All right. After this, we had the Sting interview with Tony. And all right, this is where I'm going to get a little complainy. All right. And here's my complaint. And I feel my complaint is valid. All right. If anybody disagrees with me on this complaint, I need to have a very valid, you need to have a very valid reason, because I'm tired of the Sting interviews with Tony that lead to nothing. Nada. Interruptions here and there. Chatter here and there. And that's it. It's getting to the point, I think, where like when this does happen, when we know Tony's going to do an interview with Sting, I kind of see it as, I could tune out. You're telling me that I can tune out because I've already seen this and I already know what to expect. Now I can't tune out because I got to see what happens, but it kind of gives that to the viewer. Like it makes you think like, oh, well, I already seen this. I already know where this is going to go. I don't really have to pay attention. And so I'm kind of really over that. But anyways, Lance Archer comes out and he says that he's done with people not paying attention to him, that it's his time. Sting then tells Archer he's main event material, but that he needs to get his energy channeled in the right direction. So we've been seeing these Lance Archer promos. All right, cool. We just need to do something different. They need to find different ways to continue or start these feuds without always doing these interruptions with Sting and Tony and all of that. So what do you all think about this? Because I don't know, if there's somebody that doesn't have a problem with this, I don't really know what the argument is here. Cyclops says, Sting is just another guy now. He's there all the time doing next to nothing. Yeah, and we've talked about this. They could have definitely kept him going a lot stronger. Joelle jokes, Sting interview, how it started? Yes. How it's going? Bathroom break. Exactly. And that's not what we want. That's not the goal. We don't want that. Mike says, Sting did tell us we'd be seeing a lot of him. It's either this every week or Sting has to get his own talk show. He can ding dong Sting here. I don't know. I'm sure they'd come up with a pretty sick name. But look, I just really feel like they could have kept him special from a start. He didn't have to be on there every single week. It really just, somebody says here, the Keys Boo points out that it's a running joke now. Jack says, I swear they think it's a funny meme or something. Matthew says, Sting interview with Team Taz, not interrupting? What? Exactly. And you don't want that. But maybe it is a running joke like Sting dong hello. Sting dong hello. All right. After this, we had Darby Allin versus JD Drake. And look, this caused a lot of controversy on my Twitter page. And all I really want to say here is that I do not mind the open challenges with Darby. I appreciate the open challenges. I like the open challenges. I just think that there's different people that should be in these open challenges. JD Drake has 2 wins, guys. 2 wins. Now, let me pull up my notes here really quickly because I had numbers here that I didn't transfer. Let me see here. All right. So Max Caster is 6-1. Will Hobbs, 5-0. Lee Johnson, 3 wins. Preston Vance, 5 wins. So I just think to myself, like, it doesn't make sense to have somebody just with 2 wins get in this open challenge. And I get it. It's an open challenge. I get all that. But for me, it kind of brings down the TNT title, and it begs the question, why aren't guys like, and obviously ignore the obvious reasons of MJF's doing his own thing, but why aren't guys like MJF or Hangman Page going for this bout? So for me, this didn't do anything for me whatsoever. I do think there also needs to be, and I know this is an argument that people have had, and I know people were very upset on Twitter and finding different reasons to justify it, but I do think there needs to be a little bit more consistency with the ranking system, and I've been saying this since like the start, but I never really dive into it. But I really did think that I had to bring it up today because later on in that Britt Baker promo, we had Britt basically asking for a title shot and then Tony pointing out that she's ranked at number 4. But again, you just had JD Drake get a title shot for when he has 2 wins. And I get it. Open challenge. Fine. You can argue that. But in that case, shouldn't you be having guys that are consistently winning? Consistently having all these wins on Dynamite or Elevation or Dark. That's what you have Elevation and Dark for. You get these guys to get these rack up a lot of wins, have them go on Dynamite, say they're, so-and-so. All right, great, do it. So that was my opinion on this. A lot of people were kind of upset on Twitter, but it is what it is. All right. What do you guys think? If you agree, don't agree, it's okay. Send in your thoughts. I'm cool with that. Let's see what you guys all hear. Labor Day says Britt buried the rankings, though. Yeah. And I agree with Britt Baker on this, guys. I agree with Britt Baker. And Ralph says, why even have a ranking system? Yeah. If they were the ranking system, okay, fine. But it should make a little bit more sense because there's been other times, like this isn't the only example of this, all right? There's been plenty of other examples where the ranking system just didn't make sense in a lot of the storyline situations. And Jake Larson says, I really like JD as he was an indie guy in the local area, but admittedly, this made no sense. Exactly. And this has nothing to do directly with JD Drake, obviously. Like this isn't a personal attack on JD Drake. It's more of just the whole ranking system and all of that. That's really where, for me, it's a little funky. It needs to be explained a little bit better. Jack Hines says open challenges open for everyone. Yeah, but again, it should be, I get it, open for everybody, but you should have people that have more wins, that have been winning consistently, that, again, why aren't people like Hangman Page or MJF going for this bout? Doesn't make sense. Why aren't they going up for the open challenge? They should. It's a championship. Don't you want to be a champion? All right. I'm pretty sure some people will be mad about that, but it's okay. We're moving on. So earlier on, I mentioned that the Pinnacle attacked Jericho, and I actually love this. I thought this was great. Them, all attacking Jericho by himself, and they locked the Inner Circle in the locker room. I thought that was great. The only thing that I didn't like, and it really didn't make sense, was having Mike Tyson come out and help Jericho when he was essentially all by himself. And the only reason for that is because the last time that Tyson was on AEW TV, he was literally in a pull apart with Jericho and the Inner Circle. So even though they buried the hatchet, made amends afterwards, okay, fine. But for him to come out during this, it didn't really make sense. And obviously they addressed it afterwards, which is fine, but it didn't make sense in the beginning. It kind of just felt like, oh, he's here, so let's put him in this. And that was it. So I thought that could have been probably sweetened out a little bit better. But I did think that this attack that the Pinnacle did on Inner Circle, I liked this because it made the Pinnacle made them look like badasses. Like, they're like, we don't give a damn. We're going to lock the Inner Circle in their locker room, which, by the way, is pretty consistent with what happened last week when they had the whole fight pretty much over not over the locker room, but the locker room was a portion of this story where MJF was going to redesign the locker room, and then Inner Circle's hiding in their bathroom, and then they brawl, and then the Inner Circle takes over their locker room. So then this time they lock them in the locker room. So I like that. It's sort of it plays a part in the story. The locker room plays a part in this story, which is perfectly fine. Let's see what else you guys thought here. Brandon says, Tyson is a forgiving man. Who knew? Yeah, seriously. Who knew? Labor Day makes a joke, says, Denise has receipts for the rankings. Bro, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to sit down, go through everything, make a list, come out here, make a strong argument. I'm not. I'm too busy to make a strong argument. But if it happens again, I will bring it up again. If it bothers me. If it doesn't bother me, then whatever. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, yeah. So while I'm here, next week, we are going to be getting Dax Harwood versus Jericho with Mike Tyson as a special enforcer. So we are going to be seeing more of Mike Tyson. And the Inner Circle and Pinnacle members are banned, except for Cash Wheeler, who will be on Dax Harwood's corner, and Sammy Guevara, who will be on Jericho's corner. And lastly, all right, let's get into this, guys. Lastly, we have the main event for AEW Dynamite, which was Kenny and the Good Brothers versus the Young Bucks and Jon Moxley. This was a good match. Pretty much what we need to talk about here, really, the story of the match here is that the Young Bucks necessarily couldn't find it in their heart of hearts to turn on Kenny Omega. And Jon Moxley's like, God dang it, he's fed up with them. He's trying to tell them, like, just do it. Let's win the match. But instead, they turn on Jon Moxley in this match and they realign themselves with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. Now, all I really have to say is that the Young Bucks seem to be doing a whole lot of turns. This didn't necessarily garner the reaction that I think they were probably hoping for. I didn't necessarily pop for this. I didn't gasp. I didn't have a reaction. I don't know what that says about me, but let's see what it says about you. How did you guys feel about this? For me, this just kind of feels like we're going in circles. Yay or nay with the Young Bucks, with Kenny Omega. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. This one is from R. Riggs, who says that this was way too predictable. The story isn't over yet, but this was telegraphed. Yeah, I think a lot of people, for the most part, were saying that it was telegraphed. And this, yeah, it was a little bit, it was, because even that segment where Matt Jackson and Don Callis, where Don Callis slapped him, and it seems like the Young Bucks were always like not entirely sure. And there was a couple weeks ago, I forget if it was last week or the week before that, where Kenny Omega was basically, I even said this on the street, that I kind of felt sympathetic for him. And I think the reason why I said that was because maybe that was like a precursor to this. Like, okay, if I felt sympathetic, maybe that means the Young Bucks also felt that way. And that also helped make their decision in the fact that they couldn't turn on Kenny Omega. So in that sense, I do like that. But it does kind of feel like it's a little, it's starting to get a little muzzled, a little blurry. I don't think the storyline is as sharp as many people might have expected here. And I think somebody else had a, here we go. Labor Day says that the Bucks angle was confusing as hell. Let's see what else we have here. This one is from Joseph, who says, the Bullet Club is back in AEW for reals. It feels like a business relationship with Impact is just an excuse to get the club in AEW. And let's see if we have any other comments. All right, ASM says it's just ARG. So a lot of people, okay, if you love this angle, I would love to know why you love this angle. Send it in. I mean, obviously, like, just things have, I was liking this until it started going back and forth too much. Instead, it started feeling like we were going in circles here. I just think that the reaction, I didn't react at all to this. I really didn't. I was just kind of watching. And I don't think that's what was supposed to happen. And considering that I'm watching every week, I should be, reacting more to this. And yeah, everybody's saying that the Young Bucks have had more flips than the Big Show. Yeah, I saw a couple of people saying that as well. Alrighty, guys. There you go. That is pretty much NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 and AEW Dynamite. Oh my God, so much to talk about, guys. But I want to thank you all for staying up late with me and watching this show. If you're listening to this on the audio version or watching on replay, I really, really thank you guys for coming back each and every single week to catch this show. If it wasn't for you guys, I would not be able to do the NXT show and the SmackDown show. So just know that I'm very thankful for each and every single one of you guys who come in here and chat wrestling with me. I will be going live somewhere each and every single day until next Wednesday. So please check me out on Twitter at underscore Denise Salcedo, because I do post all of the links for all of the shows on there. Again, that is at underscore Denise Salcedo. Now, guys, I will be back here on F4W on Friday. So my next show will be Friday, where I will be talking about SmackDown, and it's the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown. So that should be really good. And then for those of you guys who do not know, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, I will be recapping WrestleMania Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2 on my channel, just like this. So make sure to come and join. Before I go, we have one final super chat from Matthew, who says, "Found out you can't play show from beginning on Peacock. Getting my second vaccine tomorrow when the show is on, so I won't be watching live." I think you could watch it afterwards, actually. I think after the show is over, it goes up on Peacock. I think. Don't take my word for that, though. And good luck getting your second vaccine. I hope you everything goes well. And thank you so much for your support. To everybody, guys. Thank you guys so much. Love you all. Please do not forget to give this video a like and leave a nice comment in the comment section. Other than that, I will see you guys on Friday here on F4W Online. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a great night and enjoy wrestling.